Hey guys, so anyway, I just made the video for 5 minutes. I went off on a massive tangent and thought I would do the video again. So, back on what I said in the beginning, I want to say it again, which is that these videos are now becoming less for you and they're less content, they're more like public confessions for me. And so I noticed a big part of me, an important critical part of me that I've been denying or neglecting for quite a long time, maybe even my whole life, or a significant amount of my life. Um, and now I was just watching a video, a lecture clip of Jordan Peterson. The title is "Take Risks," and then in parenthesis, but not in a naive way. So they kind of clicked something in me. Now, for a while, let's not go there yet. Um, I'm not brave. I'm not courageous. I'm probably not even that ambitious. I've always considered myself as extremely ambitious, and that I look at the big picture. That might still be true, but it's definitely not as true as I've always considered it to be. Definitely, that I know for sure now. Um, and I'm much more naive than I let myself believe. Uh, and the difference, I guess you could say, is that okay. So the difference between being naive and unaware of the consequences versus being courageous and brave is that if you're courageous and brave, you actually know the risks, you actually know the consequences, and you still do it anyway. And the practical difference is that a naive person will not go up to a girl and say hi and try to get her number or ask her out, something like that. It's not gonna approach someone like that because they're scared or nervous or anxious or some shit. But the brave person, the courageous person, knows that they're afraid, knows that they might get rejected, that might feel bad, but because of their courage and bravery, they do it anyway. That's, I believe, the definition. I didn't go into detail about bravery and courage. I still don't know the difference between them, to be honest. This is all very new to me, and that's why I'm making the video. Because I want to capture the thought in my mind right now and immortalize it on YouTube because I don't want it to slip away. That happened too many times in the past. Not gonna go off on a tangent this time. Anyway, and so the courageous person sees the risk, is very aware of the risk, is very aware of the consequences, but they do it anyway. The difference in practice is ginormous. And so, as a naive person, it took me years to be able to push myself to go and travel with my friends because I wasn't brave enough. I wasn't courageous enough to face my fears. I always tell other people that advice: face your fears, but I neglect to do it myself. And I think that it took me 2 years approximately to build up the courage to go on a trip with a friend of mine, and I actually asked him to hold my hands throughout the whole trip. I told him I can't do this, I kind of need you to hold my hand like a baby. And he helped. And I'm really grateful for having a friend like that because without him, I would not be where I am today. Definitely. I would not even be acknowledging my naivety. Probably not. Most likely not. But it's important to recognize that because if I don't, I'll be stuck with this shit down my throat for God knows how long, man. It's a must. It's painful, but because I know it's a must, I just fucking do it. I turn on the camera, I start talking because I don't want this thought to slip my mind. At the very least, I want to say it on camera. At the very least, I want other people to know. Even if I don't go back to it, having confessed this in public like this is a big fucking deal. And in a way, it immortalizes the thought, the confession on YouTube, but it also imprints it on my brain. Like it solidifies the thought in my brain. Like it captures the image, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. Uh, the results of me being naive and not acknowledging it, not admitting it to myself or confessing it, same thing, is that in my daily life, the small little things that I would like to do but I end up not doing, they make my life worse, and I continuously am more scared than I need to be, and they get in the way of my daily life, and collectively they kind of pile up, and they slowly make me feel bad and bad. They make me feel weak and make me feel worse and worse, and they make me feel weaker and weaker. They make me feel less and less capable. They make me feel less and less confident, and shit just stacks up over time. This might account for the majority, if not a significant amount, of me feeling bad in general. Like maybe you could call it depression, maybe you could call it lack of confidence, low self-esteem, whatever the fuck it is. It might be like at least partially due to this, due to me shying away from things I would like not to shy away from. But like smaller things like saying something to someone, or asking, or like going on a trip. I don't know, smaller things like that. Like they're so small and throughout the day that you don't really think about them. They're just there. Uh, Hope you guys know what I'm talking about because I can't put it into examples. Yeah, like let's say going to a salon to do my hair, because in the beginning I'm comfortable enough to do that now, but in the beginning it took me a while to build up the courage to do that, to go to a salon and do my hair with collagen and shit, and cut my beard just the way I like it and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, and like to live with the result of having the beard I don't like and having the hair I don't like is to remind myself of my failures, of my lack of courage and bravery, of my lack of strength, whatever the fuck it is, just my weakness, I guess you could say. And that slowly feels bad, and they kind of stack up, and I just feel really bad. And then I say it's depression, and I go to a therapist. Hey, it doesn't work. I'm still depressed, or whatever. And I say maybe I need to do this, maybe I need to do that, and the result of that is that I binge eat pizza and I binge watch Netflix, and boom, my life just sucks because of those little small things that I'm not, I guess you could say, strong enough to deal with. Anyway, this is, I guess you could say, a tangent. My main point is that I, I must acknowledge my oh shit, sorry. I need to acknowledge my weaknesses, my true weaknesses. Now I could say something like my weakness is that I'm not very social and I don't understand people, which is not even fucking true. But I tell myself that because I need to admit to a weakness, and it's so hard to admit to the real weakness, and so I admit to a fake one because I need to admit to some weakness, otherwise I'm lying to myself, right? Man, I can be creative in coming up with excuses, man. If only I'm that creative at coming up with solutions, right? Wouldn't that be the dream? Anyway, again, this is just me confessing something. If you're interested in this, keep watching. I keep getting anxious about making a video that people don't like and making like wasting their time or something. I keep forgetting that this is my channel and I don't really have fans or a fan base to 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 fuck, what's the word, to accommodate. The people that watch me are those who are interested in me, as far as I can tell. Anyway, back to what I wanted to say. Um, Again, it's possible that my perceived ambition, it could still be ambition for the most part, but I think it, to a large degree, it is naivety. And so what I do is that if I'm faced with something that makes me scared, instead of tackling it anyway, which is courage or something, I revert back into my mind, which is my my comfort zone, my familiar space that I have mastered. Because guess what? There's no one else there, right? And so what I do is, if my thoughts don't match reality, that's clearly that I'm not being real. I'm not being objective here. And so what I happened to do over the past maybe decade or something is I've remained in my mind. I've still reverted into my mind, but I improved that such that it is as close of a representation to objective reality as possible, such that I don't feel like I'm bullshitting myself or that I'm lying to myself. Uh, but the result is I'm still lying to myself. I'm still bullshitting myself, but in a more elusive way because again I'm not out here, I'm not objective, I'm not doing things. I'm all in my mind, all my thoughts are in my mind, all my learning is in my mind. It's not in my body, it's not in the actual world, it's just in my mind. And that is not really useful except for philosophy, but philosophy is not useful in what I would like to do with my life. I mean it is, but like it's not directly useful. um, and 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 so I've managed to convince myself that my mind is the world itself. But like if I face something that makes me scared, I convince myself stuff like I don't need to do this. Who cares? Screw it. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? And then I go back into my mind because I want to feel good, as everyone does always. Um, and the result of that is I've never really tackled the outside world, the things that make me scared. And the result of that is that I'm always, at least to some degree, anxious. I never faced my anxieties. I told myself I did, but I never really did. I just found clever ways, even more clever ways, to go around the challenges and the obstacles that I was really facing. God, I feel like I talked about everything except what I wanted to talk about. I feel like I still haven't gotten the confession out of me. I must not allow myself to believe anymore that my choices that lead to me not tackling the challenges in front of my face, I need to believe that I need to believe that the choices I make to avoid the challenges are not wise choices and not long-term thinking choices. They're escaping choices because I'm not virtuous, I'm harmless. They come off as the same. They can be interpreted similarly, but they're not the same, and they're not like being harmless is not nearly as effective and influential as being virtuous. I'm just harmless. I can't hurt anybody. I can't cause anyone to feel bad or pain or anything. I'm just harmless. I'm a nobody in the crowd. I'm not the virtuous leader, which I'd like to be. I'm not strong when I walk away from a conflict. I'm not restraining myself. I'm not preventing a fight. I'm running away. I can tell myself whatever I want, but this is a public confession that will hopefully be immortalized forever. I'm running away. I'm escaping. I'm giving up. I'm not changing routes to be more efficient. I'm giving up. I'm quitting. I'm not being smarter. I'm not being more efficient. I'm not finding a better route. I'm quitting. I'm giving up. I'm losing. I'm not rendering the fight not useless or not there. It's there and I'm losing. I can tell myself whatever I want, but that's a fucking lie. And there's no way I can improve if I keep telling myself those lies. No matter how painful the truth is, it's the fucking truth.